The Nerve Gas Controversy, an Emancipation-Like Event by Dr. Colin Archer. 43 years later, here I am today with a man who's a part of a massive protest led by young Bahamians, and we're trying to figure out today, young Bahamians today, how do we move forward, Dr. Archer?
Again, I want to come back to what I said when I started the struggle for Bahamian autonomy, a Bahamian church. It wasn't growing, no young people coming forward at the ministry and all that. And my friend, myself and the Reverend Charles Carey, driving one night, we said, what are we going to do? We either have to get out of this church, nothing's happening, or we have to change it. These were two Methodist ministers, right? And I remember thinking at the time, and I mentioned in my book, Foundation Formation, the words of Mahatma Gandhi. You have to be the change you want to see in the world. And again, I come back to the individual, the power of the individual. You have to be the change you want to see in the world. Think about it. Whenever any great thing happened in the world, it was invariably by an individual, not by a group. An individual had an idea, and he mentioned to another. You understand? In other words, rather than saying, how can we all just love one another and get together? If you run that through in your own head, how can I cause people to get together and love and make this change? In other words, you keep personalizing. Think of it. Throughout history, it was one person, whether it was the Lord Jesus or Buddha or the Prophet Muhammad, Martin Luther King, Gandhi, Churchill. It really started with one, but in our case, we had a great leader, Sir Lyndon Pinley. One person started and galvanized people. That, I know it kind of sounds simplistic, how can I bring, but I'm saying that if each of us, in the quiet of the night, and I think you're doing it marvelously. I heard about you even before you came to this interview about how you do such great work in your blogs and your electronic work over the years. I mean, Trevon Patton, our producer, who does when you look at Gippy's Kingdom, and it's like, how is he in 3 or 4 places at the same time? I know it sounds like, but what I'm trying to say, look in your own lives, what you've done, and you're quite young. You're pretty much where I was at your age way back then. I mean, I'm a sort of an old fogey, but I think if we personalize these things, as we get up each day, what can I do today to make a difference? I probably can't. I probably don't have a church to bring together or a group, but if I can keep being focused on what I do, focused attention, and in my case, I believe having a lot of talks to the Creator, and realizing that the fear is always there, and but love overcomes fear and that sort of stuff. I think that there can be a lot of that. Somebody has said most of the evils in the world took place because a person couldn't sit in a room quietly by himself or herself. And I think if people sat quietly by themselves to really evaluate what they're going to do and where you're going to, there might be another Mahatma Gandhi, another Martin Luther King. But it never happens with a group of people coming together. You share your idea with others, but it's always with one. That's the spark of the divine in the individual. The Barack Obama is a good example of that. And so he said there's not a red America or blue America, there's just the United States of America, when I heard that. And so when we need to be saying the Bahamas, there's not the PLP or the F&M, for instance, but there's only a Bahamian. All that other stuff is secondary. I guess the power of the individual is what I leave with you.
That is very, honestly, poignant. Because I think, at least for me, and as a young person, sometimes you kind of do feel like you're
overwhelmed.
Yeah, and you need a group of people, because otherwise, how are you going to do it? Like, how are you going to get, yourself and your country out of this kind of limbo position, I feel. And then when you're young already, like at this age, I feel like me and everyone around me, we going through like a quarter life crisis because you have like all these things going on, your family, your relationships, school, and your country, church, all these different things. But I think that's definitely something to consider, like focusing on yourself at the individual level and not so much what your friends are doing or not doing, or what the other young people are doing or not doing.
Mm-hmm.
So.
One of the great influences in my life is Howard Thurman. I hope a lot of people Google Howard Thurman, find Howard Thurman was. Howard Thurman, in fact, had a great influence on the life of Martin Luther King and others. But Howard Thurman used to say, listen, when you have your dream, your idea, he would say, listen for the sound of the genuine in others. So when you have your thing, you listen, you see where you have a dream or a vision. In my hallway here, I have a quote by Langston Hughes. I pass it every day. Hold fast to dreams, for if dreams die, life is a broken winged bird that cannot fly. So if you have your dream, your individual dream for how you see you want to change your life, and I think you do have to start with your personal conversion, you know, you're knowing what your goals are and your vision and your dreams, you know, and then try to spread that out. But then you try to listen for the sound of the genuine and others who may have the same dream. And then you link in and you keep networking there. And that's how the group changes the world. But it begins with an individual vision or so on. And then you listen for the sound of the genuine in others. Listen for that same sound in others that you hear or the vision you have. And then keep piggybacking on that. And people are not tuned into that same sound. You have to let them go. And they may be just ones or twos. It's going to be a struggle, you know. But if you get the ones or twos, like, you know, one friend recommends another and whatnot, it happens that way. And after all, life is a journey, you know. It's not just, it's a journey of living. It's not just, well, how can I change the world? But you change because you change every day. It's a slow process. And sometimes it's imperceptible. You know, you say, as you often do, particularly if you're idealistic, boy, nothing's happening here.
Yeah.
Nothing's happening here. But I guess,
that's how it feels.
My wife has always said that I tend to see things in 10-year blocks ahead of people, so I tend to be but I see things happening now that I am very hopeful, and pardon the lingo about you guys. I know we have enormous crime and all that, but again, as people like Felix Bethel has said, this is represented of a generation, you know, 20, 30 years ago that we're seeing mushrooming now. And, you know, that's a result of, that didn't just happen yesterday. But I look at the likes of the Taps of this world and the Trevon Pattons and my young friends who are really struggling and realizing there's a minutia here that we have to sort out. And I see an earnestness, a focus that I think is really good for the country. And, might I say, the world in the years ahead.
Hi guys, thank you so much for tuning in to our special. It was wonderful to have Dr. Archer today. An awesome article and an awesome Emancipation-Like event that I've definitely learned so much from, and I'm sure you guys have learned a lot from as well. And I hope you are inspired by it and you go forth and do your part on the micro level as well as the macro level. If you definitely want to check out Dr. Archer, hit him up, give him some thoughts about the things you heard today. If you agree or you disagree or you have some commentary, you can find him on his website at www.investinginbeinghuman.com. You can also hit him up on Facebook. You know, we talked about the social networking site, so you can hit him up at search Colin Archer on Facebook. You can also hit me up on my website, www.theycallmetap.com, or hit me up on Facebook on Taps Vlogs with a V, and tell us, what do you think? Are we really emancipated? How are we moving forward as a country? Guys, remember, Emancipation Day is not only about, you know, going to the beach and having a few beers. We gotta, you know, have fun, but still think about where our country is going. So hit us up. Let us know your thoughts. And until next time, see you guys later. Thank you.